Overthinking often feels like being trapped in a cycle where thoughts loop around endlessly, each time in a slightly different pattern, but always the same in their tendency to keep us stuck. It can start with a simple question or concern, but before we know it, our minds spiral out of control. We wonder what we said, what we didn't say, and whether our actions will have irreversible consequences. In the process, we begin to lose touch with the present moment, and with it, the life that's unfolding right before us. But the truth is, overthinking is not the enemy, it's a symptom, a signal that our minds are overloaded, that we're uncertain or afraid. It's a natural reaction to a world that demands our attention, but it doesn't need to define us. To break free from the grip of overthinking, we need to first understand it. Acknowledge that it's a human reaction, a byproduct of fear, doubt, or anxiety. But even more importantly, we need to remember that we are not our thoughts. Thoughts come and go, like clouds drifting through a vast sky. They do not control us unless we let them. And that's where our power lies, the ability to observe our thoughts and let them pass without attaching meaning to them. Overcoming overthinking begins with presence. When we are fully immersed in the now, there's no space for worries about the past or future to invade. In this moment, we can recognize that we are enough, exactly as we are, and that we have everything we need right here. The first step toward living fully is to stop fighting the natural flow of life. We try so hard to control everything around us, to make sure that we have every detail planned, every possibility accounted for. But when we try to control too much, we invite stress and anxiety. Instead, we need to surrender, not to fate or chance, but to the understanding that we can only control how we respond to what life brings our way. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting ourselves in the process. We stop questioning every choice, every step, and we start living with more trust. The truth is, living fully doesn't require perfection. It requires presence, awareness, and a willingness to embrace life as it comes. Enough? And yes, it will come with its challenges, its ups and downs, but these moments are what make the journey meaningful. When we are present, we are not lost in thoughts about what might go wrong. We are absorbed in the beauty of what is unfolding in front of us. As we let go of the need for control, we open up the space for true creativity and joy. Overthinking has a tendency to suppress our natural creativity as we become more focused on avoiding mistakes than on exploring new possibilities. When we stop overthinking, we give ourselves permission to be messy, to experiment, to make mistakes, and through those mistakes, we learn and grow. Life doesn't require perfection. It requires progress. In our imperfections, there is beauty, there is growth, and there is wisdom. The more we embrace this truth, the less we will feel the need to overanalyze every little thing. Instead of worrying about the outcome, we can embrace the journey with all of its unpredictability. It's in the flow of life that we find our greatest fulfillment. The constant push for certainty keeps us locked in a mental prison, but when we let go, we open the door to the freedom of simply being. Pause. And in that freedom, we discover that life is happening around us all the time. We are part of something bigger, something beautiful, and all we need to do is show up. The road to freedom from overthinking is not a straight line. It's a journey of awareness and practice. Each time we find ourselves spiraling into overthinking, we can pause and return to the present moment. This is not about eliminating thoughts altogether, but about cultivating the ability to notice when we're stuck in a cycle and choosing to shift our attention. Pause. We might try deep breathing, mindful movement, or simply acknowledging that the thoughts we're having don't define who we are. It's about training our minds to recognize when we've drifted into overthinking and gently guiding ourselves back to where we are. This requires patience. Overcoming overthinking is not something that happens overnight. It's something we practice each day with each thought. And over time, we begin to create new patterns. Patterns where presence replaces worry, clarity replaces confusion, and peace replaces anxiety. There's another element in overcoming overthinking: self-compassion. Too often, we beat ourselves up for being too much in our heads. We judge ourselves harshly, thinking that if we were just more disciplined, more mindful, or more at peace, we wouldn't have these racing thoughts. But that's simply not true. It's human to overthink. It's human to get caught in patterns of doubt and fear. What matters is how we respond to those moments. Do we criticize ourselves for being human, or do we offer ourselves the kindness and understanding we would give to a dear friend? When we learn to treat ourselves with compassion, we break the cycle of self-criticism that fuels overthinking. And instead, we create space for self-acceptance, for the quiet understanding that we are doing the best we can, and that's enough. Ultimately, living fully means being willing to experience all of life, not just the moments we can control, but also the moments that catch us off guard, the unexpected moments that might challenge us or stretch us beyond what we thought was possible. When we stop overthinking, we begin to live more authentically. We stop trying to fit ourselves into a mold that doesn't suit us, and we start to embrace our true selves, imperfect, vulnerable, and whole. Pause. This is where real freedom lies, in the permission to be imperfect, to embrace the uncertainty of life without feeling the need to overanalyze every twist and turn. When we do this, we move toward a life that is vibrant and real, a life that we're not just surviving, but truly living. We open ourselves to joy, to love, to connection. We live fully because we've chosen to be present, to let go of the need to control, and to trust that everything will unfold exactly as it should.